This podcast is sponsored by the Fireman Moving Company. The Fireman Moving Company is the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you're looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. Welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast. We're your number one source for WKU sports news and information, and we are a proud member of the College Huddle podcast community. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms, especially Twitter. That's going to be our main feed where you're going to get those live and daily updates as relevant news and information is coming across the timeline. We'll be sure to share that information out. Also, slide on over to our YouTube channel at Topper Talk Podcast. Make sure you subscribe over there so you get updated with every single episode that we release weekly. Got Tyler here with me, man. We got a big episode to jump into. You ready?
Yeah, man, it's time to put the paper and pens away and put the helmet and pads on and let's hear them pop. It's game day or game week.
But before we dive into a little game preview, we've got to get caught up with our Red Towel wrap up, which catches us up with all the news and information we missed since we last recorded. So, Tyler, hit us with that Red Towel wrap up.
All right, so starting off, WKU men's basketball got a commitment from a 6'8" forward, Gabe Weiss.
Yeah, that's another Kentucky boy commitment. So that's two for the class of 2026 to go along with Co Edlin. And then we also had a class of 27 commitment earlier this summer with Jack Logston. So Hank Plona is definitely putting an emphasis on the in-state kids and keeping them close to home. So I love to see that. Welcome to the Hill, Gabe.
WKU football defensive line Machiavelli Malatuma was named to the Polynesian Player of the Year watch list.
Yeah, it's always cool when your guys are named to any Player of the Year watch list, but that's also obviously a pretty special one as the Polynesian Player of the Year watch list. So we obviously hope he comes in and he's really impactful on that defensive line. So congratulations, Machiavelli.
Former Hilltopper and Pro Top George Fant signed with the Commanders.
Yeah, he'd been looking for a home since he left the Seahawks at the end of last season and finally landed with the Washington Commanders. So big congratulations to Big George.
Kaylee Cox, she signed with the Dallas of the PVL.
Yeah, another pro top, finding a new home, but that's close to home from her. She's from Flower Mound, Texas, so she'll be in Dallas, which is back in her home state. So big congratulations to Kaylee.
Going to go back to the men's basketball. A couple of dates for games have dropped. On 11/3, they play Tennessee Tech, and on 11/10, they play EKU.
Yeah, should be getting real close to the full non-conference schedule dropping. I mean, literally any day. But some other teams have dropped their non-conference schedules, and that kind of revealed a couple of dates for us. But definitely looking forward to that whole schedule being released. I know we've got a lot of fans that are itching. This time of year is usually when that comes out. So looking forward to some men's basketball dates being official.
And we got a tale of two tapes here. WKU soccer, they fell to Ohio to a score of 0-2 in their season opener, and then they turned around and absolutely walloped Rio Grande to a tune of 10-0.
Yeah, that's definitely a pretty solid bounce back from that season opening loss to Ohio. Second most goals scored in program history with the 10 goals on the game. Cameron Davis had a hat trick early in that game. I mean, she scored the first 3 goals of the game. The first one was in the first minute of the contest. So the soccer team was absolutely on fire, and obviously we hope they continue that through the season.
And WKU football WKU football coach Callie James was named to the 24/7 Sports top 30 under 30 coach watch list.
Yeah, that recognition just goes back and kind of reemphasizes the point that I often make about Coach Helton and being really good at identifying good young coaching talent and getting them to come here to Western Kentucky And while they're here, getting the most out of them, putting them in position to be successful, and then they can move on to wherever their next job is. But he's really good at identifying young talent and getting them here to the Hill. So definitely big congratulations to Coach James.
Let's get into the preview. That concludes this week's episode of the Red Tower Wrap Up. Moff, back to you.
Yeah, man, a lot of good stuff. Fall sports are all kicking off. Football is obviously right around the corner. We're done with our summer series of the position breakdowns. We did our season preview and predictions last week. So now we are on to the week 0, game 1 preview finally versus Sam Houston State University. That game is taking place on Saturday, August 23rd. It's here at home at Houchin Smith Stadium. The game is at 6 p.m. and it will also be on CBS Sports Network if you're unable to attend the game. Obviously, first game of the season, both teams enter at 0-0. WKU, of course, is led by seventh-year head coach Tyson Helton. Sam Houston is led by first-year head coach Phil Longo. Uh, Looking at last year, WKU finished the season 8-6, being a 31-14 victory over Sam Houston at Bowers Stadium. And last year, Sam Houston finished the season 10-3. And after the season, their former head coach Casey Keeler took the head coaching job at Temple. Now, WKU leads the all-time series versus Sam Houston 2-1, including winning the last 2 games in 2023 and 24. The betting spread for this game is currently at WKU minus 10.5 with an over-under of 60.5. So that's, Vegas has a lot of confidence in the Hilltoppers. But Tyler, how are you feeling about this matchup before we jump into some of the players to know?
I don't know. See, Sam Houston, they lost a lot of production, kind of like we are. We're kind of in the same boat. So you don't really know what you're going to get out of this. I do wish that spread was just a few more points in our favor, but for a week 0, opening the season up with a conference game, I mean, I feel good. Um, I just wish we knew a little bit more about them.
Well, you've come to the right place. If you want to know a little bit more about Sam Houston, we are going to dive into him. And we always talk about the players you need to know on the opposing team, who we're going to be trying to stop and slow down. But in this instance, they have so much new, and they have a new head coach in Phil Longo. I thought we need to go back and look at Coach Longo. Just he's been an offensive coordinator for a long time through multiple levels of college football. So looking at him, he has also been a head coach before, but it was not at the FBS level. It was at LaSalle University, which is now defunct. They don't have a football program anymore, but he was the head coach there in 2004 and 2005. He had an overall record of 7-14. So not really a lot to take away from that. Then since then, he has been an offensive coordinator at several schools, including at Slippery Rock University in 2012, where they averaged 54.5 points per game. He was also an offensive coordinator at Sam Houston State in 2014 to 2016. The 2016 team averaged 547 yards per game, and they went 12-1 on the season. After that, he went to Ole Miss and was the offensive coordinator there in 2017 and 18, where they averaged over 500 yards of offense, but his offense was also criticized for not scoring in the red zone and at critical times in the game. Then he went on to become the OC at North Carolina from 2019 to 2022, where they produced multiple 1,000-yard wide receivers and running backs. He had Sam Howell as his quarterback. Then he went to Wisconsin most recently and was offensive coordinator there from 2023 to 24. He was fired 10 games into last season in 2024. They started off the year with a 5-5 record and were averaging 23.9 points per game. He was hired as the Sam Houston head coach in December of 24 after Casey Keeler went to Temple. Now, just starting from a baseline where Sam Houston was last year, even though it's a new coach, new system, a lot of new players. Last year, Sam Houston averaged 23.8 points per game and 348 yards per game. Now, just taking a quick look back at what we just reviewed, where he's been as offensive coordinator. When his system is working, when it's clicking, I mean, they're going to be scoring, having over 500 yards per game and scoring, 30, 40 plus points per game. That's the Phil Longo MO. That's what he wants to do. He's an air raid type coach. He wants to throw the ball. My question is, I just don't know if he has all the pieces of that puzzle in year one to make that happen. So, Tyler, how are you feeling about Phil Longo and his offense and how it's going to translate to Sam Houston?
I mean, the the numbers are impressive. You know, you're looking over his history. I mean, he's obviously paid his dues. He's worked at a lot of big schools. You know, and that to me that is impressive, especially averaging, 547 yards. Went 12-1 in the stint at Sam Houston. But then you look at UNC. He produced, as you said, multiple 1,000-yard running backs and wide receivers. You know, it's just impressive. I don't think he'll have the same talent. No, of course he won't at Sam Houston, but you're right. I think year one, I don't think his offense will really be clicking like it probably will be if he's able to stick around and get the players that he wants and needs. But I mean, this isn't some guy I think you should just take lightly because he obviously knows what he's doing. And he's refined his craft and his play style, and he obviously knows what he wants. And I mean, that's hats off to him. That's an impressive resume, if you ask me.
When I was looking at it, it looked like, in my opinion, he had a lot of success at the lower levels when he wasn't in the FBS. And then when he moved up to Ole Miss and North Carolina and Wisconsin, he wasn't as successful and was, let go, went to a new school, let go, went to a new school, and then where he was eventually let go by Wisconsin. It seemed like the most success he had was at North Carolina, but he also had an NFL caliber quarterback there in Sam Howell. So, at this point, I don't know was their success a product of their offensive coordinator, or was it the product of having a really good quarterback under center? I don't know, but I think that's a good place to start with talking about who to know on offense, because their quarterback is a returner. It's Hunter Watson. He is number 10. He's 6'3". He's a 210-pound redshirt senior. Last year, he played in 12 games. He threw for 1,811 yards. He had a 62.4% completion percentage with 12 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, and he also added 647 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns. They also have running back Elijah Green, number 21 on the roster. He's 5'11", 210 pounds. Also a redshirt senior. He is a second team All Conference USA Phil Steele team member. He is a transfer from Indiana, where he redshirted last season. In 2022, he had 131 carries for 558 yards and 8 touchdowns. And then our wide receiver to know is Malik Phillips, number 11 on the roster. He's 5'11", 175 pounds, also a redshirt senior. He redshirted last year, but in 2023 he had 35 catches for 430 yards and 1 touchdown. And then a bonus couple players to know. I didn't list their names, but when I was looking over the Field Steel magazine and the all conference selections for the preseason, I did notice that they had two offensive guards on the all conference first team. So both their left guard and their right guard on the first team. So that tells me that at least the middle of that offensive line is going to be pretty stout when you got two guys on either side of the center that are kind of holding things down, kind of expected to be anchors on that line. Those are pretty good starting building blocks for an offensive line. So could be tough. It could be tough for that interior of the defensive line to get penetration and try to get to that quarterback, who Hunter Watson is also very mobile. We talked about his rushing yards that he adds and rushing touchdowns that he has as well. Also of worth note, we didn't get a full game of Hunter Watson versus us last year. We actually knocked him out of the game, I want to say before halftime last year, and they ended up putting their backup, Jace Bauer, who's no longer with the team, in the game as we went on and cruised to that fairly easy victory. So, Tyler, talk to me about some of these offensive guys. What are your thoughts, or is there anyone else that we may need to be aware of?
Well, I'm not a fan of the mobile QB. Obviously, that has been one of our weaknesses the last few years. And granted, with the new defensive coordinators kind of taking over, it is going to. I mean, this is going to be an early test for them to see how our defense is going to stack up against that. Now, granted, I don't. their running back ain't as productive as some of the ones we played last year. So I don't think he should be. I mean, it's good to keep an eye on him, but I don't think he should put out any eye popping numbers. Um, but you mentioned the wide receivers. They returned their second leading receiver from last year, Quavez Humphreys, and then their fifth is Michael Phoenix. Humphreys had 20 catches, 385 yards, 4 TDs, and then Phoenix had 15 catches, 219 yards, 3 touchdowns. So, other than them two, like I said, like we both have said, their cupboard's pretty bare from their returners, but it just depends on what kind of transfers they's able to get in. But I mean, I don't think we're going to have trouble with this with their offense. I think our defense should be able to handle them. But I mean, if we was able to let them get behind us on the long passes, since they are a big air raid fan, or if we do have troubles trying to slow down Michael Watson, or I'm sorry, Hunter Watson, um, I feel like we could be in for a long drive then, or a long day if we cannot stop their QB.
Yeah, the mobile quarterback's always worrisome. I feel really good about our secondary, thank goodness. So if it does come to an air raid type game and a shootout, I think the back end of our defense is really going to be the strength. So I'm here for it. If they want to air the ball out and that's how they want to play, I feel good about our secondary shutting them down. Speaking of the defense, let's talk about some of their players on defense that we need to be aware of. First of all, it's their defensive end, Keelan Cox. He's number 99. He's a 6'4", 265-pound senior. He's on Phil Steele's second team All Conference USA. He is a transfer from Texas Southern. In 2024, he had 37 tackles with 9 tackles for loss and 6 sacks. He also had 2 forced fumbles and 1 interception. The second player to know is linebacker Antavius Fish. He's number 6. He is 6 foot, 230 pounds. He's a graduate student. He's on Phil Steele's third team All Conference USA. In 2024, he had 68 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 pass breakup, and 1 fumble recovery. In 2023, he had 86 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. And then their third player that I highlighted is cornerback Iman Allen. He is number 7 on the roster. He's a 5'9", 185-pound redshirt senior, and he is also on Phil Steele's fourth team All Conference USA. He played 9 games last season. He had 12 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass breakup. So some pretty good returners. 3 guys there on Phil Steele's preseason All Conference team. Tyler, what are you thinking of these guys and how they fit in and how they could be disruptive to us?
Well, that Iman Allen, I mean, their defense. If you look at what the players are from last year, they're returning 3 that was of note, and Iman Allen was like the 19th. I mean, you got Quincy Wright. He had 14 tackles. He's returning. And then C.J. Johnson, he had 16, and he's their 17th leading tackler. So yeah, I mean, you get with the linebacker Fish and the defensive end Cox. I mean, 6'4", 265-pound senior. Obviously he's that's a good size. He's second team All Conference USA. I feel like he could try to be disruptive, and then that linebacker. That's a healthy size linebacker. He had 68 tackles, 2 for loss, and 1 sack, 1 pass breakup, 1 fumble recovery. Dude is all over the field, and I feel like our offensive line could be tested, but I feel like they're going to be able to hold their own against these guys. And I'm hoping that we have a heck of an offensive output in this game.
Yeah, they definitely have a couple guys that just were stuffing the stat sheet as far as sacks, tackle for loss, pass breakups, forced fumbles. I mean, they've got guys making plays, and having those guys returning is obviously going to be real solid for their defense, trying to slow our offense down. Now, time to jump into our keys to victory that we're going to talk about for each and every single game. We're going to do 3 as always. We're going to alternate. So, Tyler, hit me with your first key to victory for WKU to beat Sam Houston in week 0.
Well, my first one's going to be limit their ground game. Like I mentioned multiple times in this show, I hate a mobile quarterback when we play against them. Seems like they always give us fits. So we definitely have to limit that and limit the play that the running back's going to show us.
Yeah, my first key to victory, I went with contain the quarterback, and that is keep him in the pocket. If he's going to beat us, make him beat us with his arm, not overly intimidated by what he brings to the football game as far as his passing prowess. 1,800 yards last year, 64% completion percentage. Not numbers that exactly blow you away. He's one of those players that if a play breaks down and he has to take off with his legs, he can extend a play and hurt you with his legs. Almost as many touchdowns rushing as he had passing last season. So I think if we contain him, keep him in the pocket, and not let him be that mobile guy and beat us with his legs, I think that's going to give our defense a much better shot at winning this game. Tyler, what have you got for your second key to victory?
I'm gonna say build the big red wall. I mean, I would like to keep Maverick pretty clean this game. I don't even want to really feel much pressure. And I think that would only be to our advantage if Sam Houston can't even get within a breath or within a few feet of him. Just keep him clean. Don't let him feel any pressure and let him have all day to throw the ball.
Yeah, my second key to victory, I went with um, keep the big plays in front of you. And you talked about that earlier. If they're going to be air raid, we can't let those wide receivers get behind our secondary and get loose to where a big play happens. And I think if that's what they want to do, we've got to keep those big plays in front of us. And I have a lot of faith in our secondary to do that. But just putting it out there, if we're giving up explosive play after explosive play, it can become a long day really quick going against an offense like what Phil Longo wants to bring to the table and what he wants to lean on is those big chunk plays and explosive plays that can lead to quick score. So definitely keep those big plays in front of you, and that's going to obviously help us win. Tyler, what is your third key to victory?
All right, since we kind of have a new offensive coordinator, new QB, some new wide receivers, some new running backs, I kind of want them to switch up the offense and just kind of let us get a nice little buffet of everything. I mean, I would love to see our running backs, break off some big runs, and then the wide receivers just go deep and catch it. Um, I don't really see a reason for us to, if we keep throwing, if we do stick to the air raid, then that really limits us. So I say switch it up and let's see everything, man.
Tyler wants to see them running backs and them tight ends eat as well. Let everybody come to the table, have a seat, and get a bite to eat. I like that. My third key to victory, I kind of went with a football 101 when we just need to win the battle of third downs. We need to get them off the field on third downs. Looking back and watching last year's game, a couple of the touchdowns they had against us were on big third down plays that we let a big play get behind us and they scored. Whereas if we had gotten off the field, the game would have never been in question. So we obviously have to get them off the field on third down. And then when we're driving and we have the ball, we're on third down. We obviously need to be executing and aggressive and attacking, like we've heard Rick Bowie mention several times that he wants this offense to be. So we need to win the battle of the third downs. Tyler, who have you got for your MVP for the very first football game of the season versus Sam Houston State?
For the very first one, I'm going to give it to Maverick. I'm interested to see what he's going to do. I'm interested to see how many yards he gets. And he is going to touch the ball every snap unless he gets hurt. Please don't get hurt. But yeah, I'm just going to give it to Maverick this game.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It has to be Maverick McIver for the first game. I think Tyson Helton has a shiny new toy with Coach Bowie and Coach and Mr. McIver, and I think he's going to want to show them off and put the pedal to the floor early and often, and try to put this game out of reach, and not let it be one of those slow knockdown drag out fights. Let's show what we can do. Let's show what Maverick can do and how he can lead this offense. And I think it's going to be a special game. I think Maverick's going to put on a show here at the Houch, and I am excited for it. So definitely give me Maverick McIver as well. All right, Tyler, time for a score prediction. Who you got winning and what's your score?
All right, I thought about this. I'm going to give it to the Tops, of course. Uh, big first win at home, first game of the season. To a tune 35-20.
All right, so you've got the spread, but you got the under, and the Top's winning. So I mean I can that's okay. I'm okay with that. I went with a little bit more points for both teams. Again, like I said, I think Tyson Helton's got this shiny new toy and a new gunslinger back there, and I think he's going to want to put some points on the board. I seem to remember a debut with Bailey Zappi a few years ago being pretty explosive. When we had that combination on the field for the first time, he let them boys go off. So I think that's what we're going to see again on Saturday, and I think the Hilltoppers are going to win 41-24. That covers the spread. That covers the over. And Tops win, you win, and we are lit, baby. 1-0 to start the season. Sorry, Sam Houston, and your 20,000 burners that you have on X. My gosh, they're everywhere. But it's good fun. There's a lot of chatter going on online right now with those guys, but really looking forward to it. First game of the season, obviously exciting. Ready to get back in the house and watch some live football. I'm sure our players are ready to hit someone else that's not their own teammate wearing the same helmet. And do want to share that we put it out there just a couple days ago on Twitter about doing the post game spaces like we did last year. Probably about 30 to 45 minutes after the game ends. Tyler, I think I ran it by you. I can't recall, but obviously, hopefully, you're available. I'll be here at home for every home game. I'm right up the road, whereas you've got to drive to Glasgow, so a little bit harder for you to always be there and be available. But it seemed like the overwhelming majority were in favor of having those post game spaces, just getting back together and talking about the games and what we saw, how it went down, talking about who overperformed, who underperformed, etc. So I think that'll be a fun exercise to get back into this year. And obviously, really looking forward next week to recapping this hopeful Hilltopper victory as we both have predicted. So, Tyler, hit us with your final words and then take us on out of here.
I think this should be a really good game. Hopefully, it is really entertaining, to the tune of us beating us. But I also have a question for you, man. Like, what's a hilltopper? I mean, that's the question that has pondered the minds of millions, I would say. Uh,
Apparently, it's befuddling. You can't figure out what the top of a hill is. I don't know.
I know. I mean, it's almost like someone that is at the top of a hill and kind of lives there, and
I,
that's their place.
I got another question. What's a bear cat? Literally an imaginary object.
I don't know. It sounds ferocious, whatever it is, though. It's kind of like a liger. If that's a callback to a movie that some people seen, some people probably ain't. But no, it should be a pretty good game. Should be a beautiful day. Hopefully, students stay at Western and make it out to the game, because you're going to remember the games you go to. I mean, you're never going to think back 20 years and be like, man, that time I went home and sat on the couch instead of going to a sporting event, and cheer on your team. I mean, that's something that you can look back on with your friends years later. Um, but no, let's hopefully they do the hype videos. I would really like to see that come back. It just got you in the mood. But Moff, who has it better than us?
Nobody, buddy. You know it.
Go Tops.
Go Tops. Later, guys.
See y'all.